Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Sarcastic Barman. Welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to be continuing where we left off by having another peek at Orphan Red. So we'll get straight back into it.
We're going to talk about this very quickly because I don't want to bore you and because we have talked about this in the past.
Are you lying again, Orphan? Because you said you don't want to bore us, but you left that clip card up for 3 minutes. Oh, I think the reason you want to talk about it quickly is you don't properly understand it and you're going to blag your ass off right about now.
Where do morals come from, if not God? Okay, so I'm just going to quickly talk about this article and then I can go back to chat. So this is what we've been talking about for quite a while now, right? This idea, well, maybe I'll just read the summary. According to Einstein, the speed of light is always the same. It doesn't matter how fast you're going, how fast the light source is going, it's always going to be the same speed relative to you. You always see light going at light speed. It doesn't matter how you're moving up, down, sideways, fast or slow. It doesn't matter if the source of the light is moving.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
You always see it relative to you. The light is always moving at the same speed. But according to theoretical models of quantum gravitation, this uniformity of space-time does not apply to particles. But physicists have now I'm having problems with my lipstick and my pronouncing of the words.
If I were you, I'd be blaming the vodka, not the lipstick at this point. But fucking hell, move!
Lip balm is sticking. Physicists have now tried to detect a change in the uniformity of space-time using two optical ytterbium clocks. Okay, so this is the same. We keep talking about this. Basically, it's the same. We talk about it when we look at the Michelson-Morley experiments, and we talk about it when we look at CERN experiments. So here we have a tunable laser excites an it doesn't really matter, these little details.
Yes, the details in a science experiment don't matter. Except they fucking do. Jesus!
But basically it's an atomic clock. Okay, why is this important? Because we talked about this last time when we talked about the proof that they had. They put these ytterbium clocks on planes. They sent one plane flying east. They sent one plane flying west. And then they tried to use that to prove that they had proved Einstein's theories correct. But they hadn't. Okay, so...
You mean the Haffel-Keating experiments where they took 4 clocks, put 2 on a plane, flew them eastwards, then westwards, around the world twice, and then compared them to the clocks they'd left on the ground, and found that they no longer matched up. This does fall to what they'd expect to receive from special and general relativity. So, no, you cocked that up, didn't you?
So this is basically the same setup.
Did you read the same science paper that I read? Because in this one we have 2 clocks mounted in a laboratory that are going to be rotated with the Earth to see if the rotation causes a difference to how the elements interact and how the ions are produced, and basically the timings of the clock. Whereas the other experiment was due to speed, movement, and almost time dilation sort of idea. Not exactly that, but you know what I sort of mean. They involved 4 clocks, 2 stationary, 2 moving. This involves 2 clocks stationarily fixed, apart from the rotating table, in a laboratory. You picked this topic and you're fucking it up. I'm doing this half cut on the fly with cuts in between for customers. Fuck's sake, woman, get on with it.
2 ions with wave functions are oriented at right angles and they're interrogated by means of laser light, which with an adjustable frequency shift to measure a possible frequency difference. This is kind of the same thing that they did at LIGO to see if there was a gravitational wave, right? They're basically just saying, is the light moving at different speeds? Is the light being stretched? Is space-time itself bending or stretching? So that we get an interference pattern rather than the light bouncing and then coming back together and being perfectly in phase. The whole experimental setup rotates together with the Earth once a day relative to the fixed stars. So this is why this is important, right? Because this whole thing depends on a rotating Earth relative to the fixed stars, and we're about to see why it actually proves that the Earth is not rotating.
No, I think we're going to see how you twist it to try and say the Earth's not rotating when the experiment leans to no sort of conclusion in that regards at all. Oh, is it too early for a pint?
I'm going to read this to you a little bit, and then we can kind of talk about it more generally.
I'm going to skip a reading because I know she's going to put in stupid laughs and all sorts. We'll come to her conclusions on it. I have included the article in my description as long as I've remembered. If not, please badger me on comments. I'll send you the link. Yeah, let's get on with this a bit more, shall we?
According to Einstein, the speed of light is always the same. According to theoretical models of quantum gravitation, this uniformity of space-time doesn't apply to particles. Again, here we're seeing scientism.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Basically, there are two different models, and they're incompatible, and they can't be reconciled. And rather than say, that suggests that there's something wrong here, or that there's this is a problem that we need to really address.
I was hoping to do cuttings, but she just makes this so easy. The problem isn't with the theoretical models or the theories. The problem is with your lack of understanding on the difference between a theoretical model and a theory. This is the same as trying to explain a theory and a hypothesis to any other flat earther. A theoretical model could include multiple theories, but also will include ideas and concepts, things that you're trying to prove and understand. It is not a theory. A theoretical model is a stepping stone towards a working theory. You pick this shit, you cock it up. You've got no one to blame but yourself, love.
Scientism, people.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Devotees of scientism just say, oh, well, we just haven't figured it out yet, but we will using science, and both are still correct. Everything that science tells us is true, and we just have to have faith that at some point this will all get resolved.
Right, for one more time, there is no faith in science. It's provable, and it's scientifically correct, or it's fucking not. Moving on.
It's not that the models are wrong. It's not that the theories are wrong.
To the best of our knowledge, the theories are right. The models could be wrong. I'm just going to lose the will to live at this rate. Fucking hell.
And so depending on what you're doing, you apply whichever model is the one that works out. And that is the true model.
No. You apply the theory. What they are doing is testing theoretical models to try and come up with new theories, basically, and adjust theories that we already have. Work to what we know, not to what we're trying to prove.
And is the real model. That's what scientism
New game. Every time she says scientism, have a shot.
does. That's not science. That's just religious blind faith belief.
Hardcore edition. Every time she says science needs belief, have another shot.
In irreconcilable models, you're holding these two models as though they're both true, but they can't both be true because they have different conclusions that are contradictory. So physicists have now tried to detect a change in the uniformity of space-time using these two terbium clocks. Okay, so, and then their results are published, blah, blah, blah.
Now, obviously I did the parapsychology course that she talked about in the last video, and I now predict the future that she's going to bollocks up this bit of the test. She's going to give the results wrong and twist them to fit her narrative. Let's see.
So here we go. Physicists have now tested this hypothesis with the first long-term comparison of two optical terbium clocks at the Physics Technical University in Germany.
That's not how you say it. God, even I can manage it. Watch.
Physikalisch-technisch Bundesanstalt.
I think. I took German years ago.
If only there was a magical thing that you could type stuff into and get it pronounced properly for you, or at least close enough that then you could say it. Oh, what a shame this world we live in doesn't have anything like that.
With these clocks, whose error amounts to only 1 second in 10 billion years, again, this is not a factual statement because we know that particles don't decay at given rates.
No, they don't decay at given rates. They decay at constant rates. Oh dear love, just keep digging the hole. Your boobs should just about fit by now.
This particular ytterbium atom will decay at this time.
Well, if you're controlling the factors surrounding it, temperature, the density of the material it's in, any pressures affecting it, then yes, you can say with certainty how long that element is going to last. This is why we use atomic clocks for such accuracy. Right, skip time.
I just have to drink.
Good plan.
So this is a lie. It can't measure even extremely small deviations of the movement of the electrons because the electrons are both moving and not moving until they're measured.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, electrons are both everywhere and nowhere and everywhere all at the same time. It's a bit weird, quantum mechanic-y, stuffy, blobbly blob. But, listen to what she says. You can't measure them because they're everywhere and nowhere at the same time until you measure them. So if you're measuring them, you're going to know. Oh, fucking hell, love. Carry on.
And so that's nonsensical.
You're nonsensical.
They're just trying to say, ooh, look, our extremely expensive equipment that you as a taxpayer have paid for is giving us certainty when it's not giving us certainty.
Do you pay taxes in Germany, do you? Do you not think that this experiment might have been funded privately as well?
Sure. Moving on.
God damn it. Sorry, the idiot detector went off. It was just because of our laugh.
Okay, where were we? The scientists did not detect any change when the clocks were oriented differently in space.
Go on then, Orphan. Give us your conclusion. What does this mean?
Okay, if the Earth was rotating, then we're moving through space-time in one direction. So then we should be detecting the evidence of our motion, right?
Yes. No. Just no. This wasn't an experiment to detect Earth's movements. This was an experiment to detect if particles move at different rates through different directions, which it's leading to make people think it doesn't. There will need to be more testing and future experiments, but at the moment, no. Just no. Go back in your hole.
Right. They did not detect any change when the clocks were oriented differently in space. Due to this result, the current limit for testing the space-time symmetry by means of experiments has been drastically improved by a factor of 100.
Yes, by a factor of 100, because the ytterbium clocks are far more precise than the previous models they used. Just, oh, god damn it.
Ooh, that must be important. That must mean that it's really much more accurate. Well, no.
Well, yes.
If the previous limit for testing space-time symmetry was really, 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 really inaccurate, then if you improve the accuracy by a factor of 100, well, now you can remove one of those reallys.
In that case, you're really, 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 really...
But it's still really, 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 really inaccurate. It's just one really less. Do you know what I'm saying?
Really, 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 really stupid.
So, if it's wrong, and now you make it less wrong by a factor of 100.
It's not wrong, it's just less accurate, and now it's more accurate. Like when you measure something with a ruler. You're going to be great if you're measuring it to the centimetre, but if you want it to the millimetre, you want something better than a standard ruler. And then if you want something better than that, you want a micrometer. The measurements aren't wrong, they're just not accurate. You are wrong, and not accurate.
It can still be wrong. That doesn't mean that now it's right. Less wrong isn't right. So less of a lie doesn't necessarily mean that it's true.
Good God. Who says they're lying? You. What does that make you? Wrong. Fucking hell.
And so it's less inaccurate doesn't mean that now it's significantly accurate. And it doesn't mean that it's accurate enough for us to take on faith that the conclusions of this are now true and we should accept them as facts.
There is no faith in science. Good God, woman. You're like a broken fucking record. Ah.
Okay. In addition to this, the extremely small systematic measurement uncertainty of the optical terbium clocks of less than 4 times 10 to the minus 18, itty bitty bitty, has been confirmed. Okay, so again, they're saying, look how precise this is. Okay, it's a precise measurement that's not precise.
How the fuck do you have a precise measurement that's not precise? I swear, woman, you just make up words as you go along.
And it's a measurement of something that doesn't actually have a location or a motion until it's measured. And it's a probabilistic system. So you're not actually measuring the individual terbium atoms. You're measuring the group and you're getting a value for the group. That's not reliable because you don't know if this group measurement is representative of the normal behavior for these atoms.
I'm sorry, have you done a degree in quantum physics? No, you haven't, have you? Because then you'd know what a theoretical model was, because you would have to put it in your dissertation. So, nah.
It might be the 7 times out of 800 that you get this really odd result, right? And they can replicate it, but still, it's written as though this is truth and fact. This is written as a religious text that you're just supposed to have faith in.
Faith.
Don't question, just believe, because this is true and this is science. Okay, so it's one of the most famous experiments in history, as early as 1887. Ooh, look at that. And I also think it's interesting that they're revisiting Michelson and Morley.
Ah, God damn it, what's wrong with Michelson and Morley? I'm sure you're going to tell us.
And trying to use this to prove their model because flat earthers are using it to prove flat earth.
Scientists don't use things because you're using them. They don't give a toss what you're doing. They're doing it for science.
Yes, science, bitch!
Right? So I do think it's interesting that they're trying to reclaim, I guess, Michelson and Morley experiments and use them to kind of bolster up their failing theories. Okay, so Michelson and Morley demonstrated what Einstein later expressed in the form of a theory. With the aid of a rotating interferometer, they compared the speed of light along 2 optical axes running vertically to each other. The result of this experiment became, and you're all very familiar with this, I'm guessing, right? Because this has been going around the flat earth community on YouTube for 4 years now. We've all talked about these Michelson-Morley experiments. We've all seen the, what's his name, Michael Bowden with his little slow voice and his little cute little diagrams. Okay, the result of this experiment became one of the fundamental statements of Einstein's special theory of relativity. The speed of light is the same in all directions of space. Or, alternatively, the Earth is not in motion.
Sorry, do I really need to explain why she's wrong at this point?
But they don't say that here, because that would be blasphemy. Okay. Oh, this is amusing but frustrating at the same time, because so many people will just read this and take it as just bad information that they'll integrate into their understanding of reality.
Or they'll do what you're doing, which is not reading it properly and twisting it to fit your narrative so you can get more views on YouTube.
Okay, now one could ask, does this symmetry of space, which is named after, it doesn't matter, of Lorentz, also apply to the motion of material particles? Or are there any directions along which these particles move faster or more slowly although the energy remains the same.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Oh, I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it.
Okay. Okay, what's relevant here? Blah, blah, blah. 2 atomic clocks investigating high accuracy. This is not true. It's relatively high accuracy.
They are extremely accurate. Far more accurate than the previous clocks, as listed in the article you're reading. They're just not as high as you obviously are. Maybe you should do some high IQ research, Orphan Red.
That doesn't mean it's highly accurate. That doesn't mean that it's a high accuracy experiment. It just means it's better than the terrible one before.
I'm coming to the conclusion, when you don't understand something, but you want to make people think you do, you laugh. This would explain why you laugh so much in all your videos.
So you have to be really careful about the way they're using language to manipulate what you think, right? This is scientism.
Using language to manipulate how people think? Who would do a thing like that? Possibly you. Anyway, scientism. Oh, fuck.
Okay, the frequencies of these atomic clocks are each controlled by the resonance frequency of a single ytterbium ion that is stored in a trap. While the electrons of the ytterbium ions have a spherically symmetric distribution in the ground state, so then they energize them, and then they're in an excited state, and then they exhibit a distinctly elongated wave function. This doesn't really matter as much, therefore they move mainly along one spatial direction.
It does matter. This is a very serious point of the experiment, to know about how they move in one direction. Oh god, skip things that you don't like, don't understand again, are we, Orphan?
So basically, during the experiment, no change between the 2 clocks was observed. This is not... They've interpreted this as proof of to bolster their theory. This actually is proof that the Earth is not rotating.
There's that fucking laugh again. Jesus Christ. This wasn't an experiment to see if the Earth was rotating, was it? It was an experiment to see how particles move in space in different directions. If we wanted to see if the Earth bloody rotated, we'd just go and ask Bob. He had a nice $20,000 ring laser gyroscope that someone bought. He showed it for you.
And, I would like to look at you when I say, I feel like I want to talk to you. Okay, so here's the thing, right? You can use this finding and pretend to yourself that this is proving Einstein or the gravitational theoretical physics models. Or you could apply Occam's razor. Bing!
What the fuck was that? But okay, let's apply Occam's razor, shall we? I need to get close to the camera for this one. I need to talk to you all. I need you to see me. Oh, God. Which one sounds more plausible? The thing we have evidence, photos, astronauts, space stations, satellites, or the one where it's all fake and there's no evidence for? And yeah, I'll leave you thinking about that one.
And say the theory with the least number of assumptions is more likely to be true.
Yeah, so the less assumptions, the better. Let's see where you take this train of thought.
It's more likely to be true that the Earth is not rotating. That's a more likely explanation for these results. And it's funny because the whole reason that they interpreted Michelson-Morley's initial experiments the way they did was because there's this whole idea of it's too complex to imagine that the Earth is the center of the universe and that we're not rotating, but that everything is rotating around us. It requires us to assume God, a creator, a designer. It requires us to assume that we're in a special place in the universe, that we're special somehow. And they're like, no, we can't make those assumptions.
Did you just have to go because you realise you've just said to apply Occam's razor, and then said they should use all these assumptions, but they said, no, we don't want to use those assumptions. Instead, we'll rely on the evidence. Fucking hell, love. You keep digging this fucking hole for yourself, don't you? Oh, god damn it.
But then here they are, where it's the evidence is showing, okay, the Earth is not rotating.
Bob would be so glad to hear that. But, no. The evidence is that the Earth is rotating, and that it's round, and that you're not special.
And they're like, no, let's just assume that maybe there are these bendiness in space-time, and maybe there are these issues of relativity that are coming in and influencing the results, and how can we interpret this in a way so that our prior belief is supported? That's all that they're trying to do. Okay, let's get back to the article.
Now, first things first. When she said belief, she means faith. So, bottoms up on that. Secondly, oh god, that went straight to the back of my throat. Secondly, we're not making assumptions. We are using the evidence and coming to the conclusion. You want to make assumptions that you're special, that the world is flat, that it doesn't move, that there's a God, that you're the centre of the universe, when none of that can be proven. Which one is full of assumptions here? God damn it.
Okay, for the theoretical interpretation calculations concerning the atomic structure of the terbium ion, this team worked in... Okay, we don't care who they worked with. They worked with the Americans. And ooh, wow, they've improved the limit set in 2015 again drastically by a factor of 100. Yeah, okay, but if you were previously sucking at accuracy, then improving your accuracy by a factor of 100, you're still sucking. It's not evidence that you're not sucking. It's just evidence of sucking a little less, right? Significantly less, but still terrible.
That was a lot of sucking in one sentence, if you know what I mean. You suck.
Average over the total measuring time, both clocks exhibited a relative frequency deviation of less than 3 to 10. 3 times 10 to the negative 18, which is itty bitty. This confirms the combined uncertainty of the clock that had previously been estimated to be this other value. Furthermore, it's an important step in the characterization of optical atomic clocks at this level of accuracy. Only after roughly, again they repeat this, which is wrong, only after roughly 10 billion years would these clocks potentially deviate from each other by 1 second.
It's not wrong. You're a moron. Fucking hell.
So basically what they found is that there's no proof of rotation. That's actually what this experiment is showing.
It literally says nothing of the sort. You are here twisting the facts and the statements to fit your narrative. Someone talked about this not long ago in this very video, about how giving the wrong information to change people's mindsets and things. I wonder who that was. Oh wait, that'll be you fucking moron.
I'm just sipping my drink.
We shall join you.
I'm considering taking an antihistamine. Although mixing that with the peppermint vodka, things could get a bit crazy. We could have we could revisit last week's little meltdown. So basically what they're saying is, look, if the Earth is rotating, then the ions that are moving, these ones should be moving a little bit faster because they're moving with the motion of the Earth, and these ones should not. And what they found is, no, there's no difference and there's no change in their motion, and also they're moving, they get them excited, and so then they are, I'm just gonna put this down. So then when they get them excited, rather than being, and even this is really silly, because then they're saying rather than being little balls of particle, right, they're ovals of particles. And so then as an oval, it can move this way. It's more likely to move this way more easily than moving this way, right?
This is the result of something that's similar to Chinese whispers. I tell someone who tells someone else, 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 and eventually you end up with fucking garbage. And basically, that's what you're saying now. You are twisting this and changing it because you don't like that it's not showed anything you want. Good God, woman, I'm getting angrier and angrier as this goes on. I'm normally chill.
Except that it's not a bollard oval, they're just probability distributions. So it's not actually an oval, it's just that now, instead of the probabilities of finding it if you look here or here or here being higher than the probabilities of finding it here and here and here, now the case is that the probability of finding it here or at the other end of the oval are higher than they were when they were in an unexcited state, right? So it's just shifting the probabilities of where you might find them if you're to look there.
The look on your face is priceless. You're confusing yourself with your own words here. Good God, these are the things that you said we couldn't find to measure because they're everywhere and nowhere until we measure them, but we can't find them because we can't measure them because we can't see them because we can't find them. Fucking hell. Right, that is going to be the end of part 2. This video's gone on far much longer than I would have wanted. I think this is a record for my longest video, which isn't hard. This is, what, my 7th video? But yeah, I'll catch you all possibly Friday. I'm hoping so. But I am the Sarcastic Barman. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment. Tell me what I've got wrong. I don't mind. I like feedback. Feedback's good. You're not trolls. You're feeding back. Thank you everyone. Good night.